Legal and Compliance Officer for the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. I'd like to thank you all for being here today as we talk about a very important topic. May 5th is the National Awareness Day for murdered and Indigenous women and girls. It's so good of you all to join me here today to talk about this. Emily, with your role at the Southeastern Family Violence Center, can you tell us a little bit more about domestic violence?
Sure. A lot of people assume that domestic violence is just physical violence, but it's not. Domestic violence is any form of coercion or when a person tries to gain control over another person for any reason, it's called domestic violence. And it can be intimate partner, it can be family violence, it can come in many forms. Today in the atmosphere we're living in with the pandemic, coercion and isolation is really a lot of the domestic violence that we are seeing today. But it can come in sexual violence, financial violence, emotional abuse. There's all different types of domestic violence.
Since we've been in quarantine and doing the stay-at-home order, have you seen a rise in domestic violence cases?
Absolutely. There's definitely been an increase in domestic violence since the pandemic started. Unfortunately, for victims of domestic violence, being at home can be just as dangerous and just as deadly as the effects of contracting the coronavirus. There's isolation involved, there's not a lot of outlets for people to go to, and many folks are unaware of the resources that are available, even though we are working at a limited capacity at the courthouse. There are many resources that are available that people aren't aware of right now.
Ms. Shalina, in your role as county clerk, what kind of things are you seeing at the courthouse?
Domestic violence, just as Judge McIntyre said, there's definitely been a rise in domestic violence complaints being filed. We've seen lots of people come in with complaints. Our office is open from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday to take those complaints. Any victims of domestic violence can come to our office and get the paperwork to file the complaint free of charge. There's also no court cost involved.
And those complaints that Ms. Smith is discussing, they're so important because what they are domestic violence protective orders, and they give the judge the opportunity to give many different ways to protect the victim, whether that is housing, it could be custody, making sure the children are safe, making sure they have a place to go and transportation to get there. And those orders also allow, if a victim comes into contact with the abuser, immediately when they call 911, law enforcement can respond and take that person into custody. So those restraining orders that Ms. Smith's office can assist you with the paperwork on are so important. We see with domestic violence, and especially as it relates to missing and murdered Indigenous women, that murders don't typically happen as the first act of violence. There was a stepping stone to get there that typically revolved around domestic violence, financial abuse, isolation, things of that nature. And that vicious cycle continues and often ends in death, and that's what we're trying to prevent. There are so many resources here in the county, and Ms. Harkey and Ms. Emily can talk with you about the resources they have with the Violence Center as well as legal aid. When you come in the courtroom, representatives from the Violence Center as well as legal aid are often available in the courtroom to help you, but I'll let them share with you how you can access their resources and what's available to you.
That's right, Judge McIntyre. When a person decides that they are ready to file a civil order, they can come to our office to get assistance with that. We have the paperwork on file, we have everything they need, and then we can actually accompany them to court, as you said before, and it just helps the court process a little easier because there are so many unknowns of going to court. And so that's what we're there for, is to help the victim in their process of filing that civil order. As well with legal assistance, we worked with Ms. Candace Harkey's office at North Carolina Legal Aid to help get legal assistance for those criminal orders as well, civil orders as well.
Ms. Emily's office, Southeastern Family Violence Center, is one of our community partners. Our office offers legal assistance for victims of domestic violence seeking civil remedies in the court, including domestic violence protective orders, issues that they may have with housing, employment, any other related consumer issues. We take referrals from the Family Violence Center, as well as people can directly apply with legal aid for our services. The number to reach our office is 866-219-5262. Our legal services are free of charge. They are free for victims of domestic violence. We have a staff of attorney that represents victims of domestic violence in civil cases in the courts here in Robinson, Scotland, and Hope counties.
American Indian women face physical violence, sexual violence, and domestic violence at much higher rates than the rest of the population. A Native American woman is 10 times more likely to be found murdered than any other population. Over half American Indian women will face physical violence in their lifetime, and over half of American Indian women will face some type of domestic violence or sexual violence at the hands of a partner. It's so important to start taking steps early when you recognize you may be in a situation over your head. These ladies have talked about some of the resources within the county that are available, and there are also other resources available from all of our partner agencies to help you before something gets out of hand. The Southeastern Family Violence Center has enormous resources available if you are in a situation of domestic violence. Emily, can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys do?
We at Southeastern Family Violence Center offer a lot of services. One thing that we offer is 24-hour crisis counseling. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you can get someone on the line. That if you are in a situation and trying to make a decision, we're there to help. We also offer emergency shelter. We have a 22-bed facility that we can house individuals, male and female, which is good to know, in our facility. We also offer support groups for those individuals who need to know what domestic violence is and may need just some support in the group setting to learn from others that are experiencing those domestic violence issues. We have children's programs where we do trauma screenings for those children who have witnessed domestic violence. We offer batterers intervention classes for those males or females who have been abusers. And so it's a very comprehensive program that actually focuses on a total family unit.
So Shalina, if I wanted to get started on a court proceeding, where would be a good place to start?
The Office of the Clerk of the Superior Court for Robeson County is a good place to start. Victims of domestic violence can come by the office to pick up the paperwork, or if they just have questions, they can call 910-272-5900. As an additional resource, there is information available at nccourts.gov.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for being here with us today as we talk about this. We know that these are issues that are facing our Indian women at much higher rates, and one woman who has to go through domestic violence or physical violence is one woman too many. So, for you guys out there, if you need help or you know someone who needs help, please know there are resources available and we're here to help.
Hey,